From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm David Augustine. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to impose 100% tariffs on Canadian goods if Canada proceeds with the new trade deal with China. In a social media post, Trump referred to Prime Minister Mark Carney as governor and accused Canada of acting as a conduit for Chinese products into the U.S. Carney recently pledged to drop Canada's 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles in exchange for reduced Chinese tariffs on Canadian farm exports. Now, the warning from Trump followed Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum. Defense Minister David McGuinty says Canadians will never forget the sacrifices their troops have made for Americans and the NATO alliance in Afghanistan. His comments came in a prepared statement that he read that did not mention U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, Trump falsely claimed this week that the U.S. never sought military help from the NATO alliance and that those troops stayed back from the front lines in Afghanistan.
We joined the Americans and other NATO allies on the day operations were launched in Afghanistan. There was only standing side by side in solidarity. Over 150 of our own soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice. We will never forget what they did for Canada and for our NATO allies.
Trump renewed long-standing grievances with NATO partners in a media interview on Thursday by disputing sacrifices made by non-U.S. troops. With wind chills plunging to as low as minus 50 degrees Celsius in parts of the country, Environment Canada extreme cold warnings are in effect across Canada. In Toronto, Keith Hambley, the CEO of homeless services organization Fred Victor, says its shelters and drop-in spaces are operating at increased capacity to help people stay safe during the dangerous conditions.
We do coordinate quite well with the city. They often call us, and they certainly called us this week, to expand our services in our drop-in spaces, to keep them open longer, find extra space for beds in our shelters, which we have done. An Environment Canada meteorologist says the cold is expected to begin letting up on Sunday. The Department of U.S. Homeland Security says a man carrying a gun was killed in Minneapolis today during a confrontation with federal agents. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino says the man approached U.S. Border Patrol officers and violently resisted when they tried to disarm him. Here's Governor Tim Walz.
Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
The Minneapolis police chief said the victim is a 37-year-old Minneapolis resident with no criminal record and a lawful gun owner. And Super Bowl weekend in the Bay Area will span several days of tightly scheduled sports, music, and celebrity events leading up to the big game. Friday and Saturday anchor the busiest stretch with overlapping concerts, comedy shows, and branded parties headlined by Shaquille O'Neal, Post Malone, Kalani, and Dave Chappelle. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, the Vegas Golden Knights picked up a 6-3 victory over the Maple Leafs in Mitch Marner's return to Toronto. The star winger spent 9 seasons with the original 6 franchise before leaving for Sin City in the summer. Marner reflected on an emotional night, one that included plenty of booze and a tribute video in the first period.
It's a passionate fan base here. They love their team, so it was it was interesting the whole night, and I really appreciated the love and support throughout the tribute video, and I still got a lot of love for these fans.
Toronto hosts Colorado on Sunday, while Vegas is at Ottawa. Stan Wawrinka said goodbye after his loss to Taylor Fritz and then grabbed 2 beers from a courtside icebox, cracked the cans with the Australian Open tournament director, and saluted the crowd. "Cheers, everybody," the 40-year-old Wawrinka said after his third-round loss. He won the first of his 3 Grand Slam titles in Australia in 2014. And Canada's Abigail Strait stayed hot heading into the Milan Cortina Olympics, earning a silver on the women's large hill at a ski jumping World Cup today. From the Canadian Press, I'm David Augustine.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.